Ooh, welcome back to the Between the Stitches podcast. Jared and Ryan here with you on episode number 11 of what is many, Jared? Many episodes. We've got a lot going on in the world of baseball. Byron Buxton is way better than he gets treated. I don't think people think Byron Buxton's bad, but we'll tell you why Byron Buxton is maybe a top 5 player when he's playing baseball. We'll talk about Angel Hernandez making headlines just again. He's a terrible umpire. Everybody knows that. But another situation where he's at the forefront of umpires being shitty. And Yankees fans show the uglier side of the fan base. Rain beers down on players on the field. So a lot of action happened over the last few days. We appreciate you guys tuning in to the Between the Stitches podcast with Jared and Ryan. Baseball only show, part of the Phenomenal Fan Media Group. Stick around, get a lot to talk about, and let's just jump straight into the action.
Cheer and boo and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today. At the ball game, a wonderful ball game today.
Okay, Jared. Another week has gone by, or a few days, I guess you could say, in the world of baseball. Teams, players, coaches, all starting to show their true colors. The sample sizes are getting bigger. Players are getting more opportunities to level out things like batting average and slugging and OPS, starting to accumulate more statistics, home runs, RBIs, hits, strikeouts, wins. People are showing their true colors, Jared. One of the guys that I am very high on, and I always have been, is Byron Buxton. He, at the moment, Jared, today is Tuesday, April 26th, tied for the league in home runs, 6 jacks, 11 ribbies. He's got a stolen base. He's batting .351 with a 1361 OPS in 10 games. 10 games he's played, and he has 6 home runs. Over the span of his career, Jared, Byron Buxton has played 46 games, 92 games, 140 games, 28 games, 87 games, 39 games, and 61 games. The guy simply can't stay on the fucking field. He can't. But when he's on the field, last year, Jared, he played 61 games. He had 19 home runs with a 1,005 OPS. 19 home runs, 61 games. This year, he's got 6 and 10. Not to mention, Jared, he flies. Plays an incredible defensive center field. I think when Byron Buxton is healthy, he is a top 5 player in the major leagues. Thoughts?
Oh, I absolutely think so. I think like when he got drafted, I think the biggest thing with him is when he first came up in the league, he was with, obviously he got drafted by the Twins. What was he? Was he number 2 or number 1 overall? He was like a top
early pick.
Yeah, he was really early pick. I think that he is a good case of one of those guys that like came out of high school, was so good, so fast that he kind of got brought up to the major leagues quick.
And how could you not?
I think,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're super talented. You're like super talented. You're fast. You got a cannon arm. There's all this potential there, and the team needs you. So like he's 28 right now. When did he get drafted?
He got drafted in the first round, 2nd overall in 2012, and he made his major league debut in 2015. and he was drafted out of high school, so that's a pretty quick trajectory. Less
Wow,
than 3
that's
years out of high school.
crazy. Crazy that was 10 years ago. But yeah, to get to the major leagues within 3 years, I felt like
Out of high
when he
school.
came up, yeah, out of high school. I feel like when he came up, like there's just that learning curve. You're playing at the highest level. So like we're just seeing Byron Buxton start to flourish in his career. Like you're talking about a guy who's 28, he'll probably play till he's, 40 years old because he's a top pick like that. I think maybe like we haven't really got to see what he's made of in a full season yet, like in terms of like him playing at the best at a mature level. Obviously, like you said, he's a freakishly elite defender. That home run he hit the other day went 460 feet. I actually remember when he got drafted. I remember like reading about him, and he pitched in the state championship, but he struck out. He hit 98 miles per hour pitching in the state championship in high school,
Jesus.
and struck out 17 batters for his team. I'm pretty sure that's the story I read.
It was a
So,
state
like,
championship, you said?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Let's see. Byron.
Well, this is his Wikipedia page. As a pitcher his senior year, he went 10-1 with a 1.9 ERA, 154 strikeouts in 81 innings. He threw a fastball that was recorded at 99 miles an hour. It doesn't mention his thing, but I mean, from what this says, that sounds about right. Got up to 99. What?
Yeah. So he's just an absolute freak athlete, So it's like
He's not even a freak
I
athlete.
remember-
He's just a fucking freak, dude. He's literally a freak.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
what?
it's-
Dude, he's a
yeah,
freak.
So, yeah, I remember reading that when he got drafted. Like I remember like seeing him get like drafted. I was like, I was really into that, like reading like into like their. I
Yeah.
remember like when Aaron Judge got drafted, but I always remember like reading into their bios because I'm like, geez, who are these guys going like top? And I'm
By
like,
the way-
okay, he throws 99.
By the way, Jared, his
Byron Buxton is a freak.
his OPS plus this year is 298. League average is 100. So he's 100. He's almost 200% better than the league average player. He right now is 6th in wins above replacement in WAR. Manny Machado is at number 1. Arenado 2. Wander Franco 3. JP Crawford at 4. And Keegan Thompson 5. Byron Buxton's at 6 with a 1.2 WAR already this season. And I also think, Jared, the thing with Byron Buxton is that it's obvious that he's extremely physically gifted, but he also has that factor that like only like I feel like a dozen or so and the guys in the big leagues have, and it's that like electricity factor.
Yeah.
Tatis, Javi Baez, Acuna,
yeah.
where it's like it is absolutely just pure, unadulterated fucking juice when he steps in the box. Juice. Energy. Morale. Fucking fires a guy up. Feels like it's the type of guy, Jared, who could single-handedly win you a game if it's tied in the 9th inning and he comes up to the plate to lead off the 9th. He could come up, not obviously could hit a home run, but he could come up with the 9th and draw a leadoff walk, steal second, steal third, get home on a wild pitch and like win you a game single-handedly, or just steal you an extra 3 bases a game, or shit like that, where it's just like, I mean, God, he's just so explosive, man. And to have the kind of power, by the way, that he has in the body that he has, playing a position like center field, it's fucked, dude. It is. He's 6'10", 6'2", 6'2", 190 pounds, and he just hit a ball 470 feet the other day. like,
Yeah.
there's some guys that are like monsters that can't hit a ball that far.
He's just 190 pounds of just fucking twisted steel. That's why.
That's
why he's
literally-
so fast.
dude.
That's why he's got a cannon of an arm.
He's a
Like,
beast.
He doesn't have any waste on his body. The guy, like, just watch him run. Like, he's just a guy that. And another thing that happens with a guy like him, plays in Minnesota. I just fucking can't emphasize it enough. If the guy plays in a big
New York.
for a big market team, New York, LA, Boston. He gets fucking twice as much media coverage. You know, he's always talked about. I don't know. Just feel like a guy with the Twins. You know, like it's always quiet. You don't hear about guys with the Twins.
Oh, for sure.
Josh Donaldson disappeared for 5 years or however long he was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Though it's like Miguel Sano was a super exciting prospect. Nobody knows who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
Unless you're a baseball fan. Most people don't know who Miguel Sano is.
Yeah.
It's not like if you play for the fucking Dodgers. Like this guy has hit 35 jacks in the season. Like it's like you just really don't hear about anybody until they go play for a big market team. It's because I don't know. So Byron Buxton has been a victim of that a little bit for sure. So
No doubt.
yeah.
Absolutely no
Fucking
doubt. Love Byron Buxton. Kind of like the Twins, Jared, looking through the standings here. 2022 regular season standings as of, again, Tuesday, April 26th. The Blue Jays sit at 11-6. The Yankees are 10-6. The Blue Jays lead the American League East. The Twins lead the Central at 8-8. Not a great record, but they lead the Central. The Mariners are leading the American League West at 10-6. The Mets have the most wins in baseball, leading the NL East 13-5. Again, we mentioned this last time we did the standings updates. Nobody else in that division has a record above 500. Mets already have a 4.5 game lead. St. Louis and Milwaukee tied for first in the Central. I feel like that's going to be a 2-horse race going on the entire year. And Jared, in the NL West, Dodgers are 12-4. Giants are 12-5. Rockies are 10-6. Padres are 10-7. There's a very realistic chance that the current standings, Dodgers first, Giants second, Rockies third, Padres fourth, Diamondbacks fifth, could be the standings when the season is finished. Very realistic. That's all I'm going to say. We don't need to get into that much more. Last weekend, Dodgers and Padres played each other. Dodgers swept the Padres. Shocker. Cardinals and Reds played. Cardinals took 2 out of 3. Yankees played the Guardians. Yankees, I believe, swept. Phillies and Brewers played. Brewers took 2 out of 3. Rockies and Tigers played. I think the Rockies took that series. Jared, correct?
I believe so.
Cubs.
I know that
Pirates.
I know that the Tigers throttled in one of the games though.
Yeah, 13-0. I want to talk about throttled, by the way. On Saturday, the Cubs beat the Pirates 21-0.
Just a straight up football score.
21-0. And by the way, the Pirates won the series. They took 2 out of 3, but the Cubs beat them 21-0. White Sox and Twins played each other, and I think the Twins either swept them or took 2 out of 3. Blue Jays took 2 out of 3 from Houston. Tampa took 2 out of 3 from Boston. I think the Marlins might have took 2 out of 3 from the Braves. Mets took 2 out of 3 from the D-backs. Angels took 2 out of 3 from the Orioles. And I think the Mariners swept the Royals. Potentially. Wait for it. Yeah, they swept them. So, looking at some streaks here, Jared, not to get too alarming, the White Sox have lost 7 games in a row. Ouch.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just don't. It's like they have. You know who's fucking sucked this year so far? The guy that we were bending over backwards for.
Luis
Liam
Robert?
Hendricks.
Oh, Liam Hendricks?
No. Liam Hendricks has been an ass. He's blown like fucking 3 saves.
Yeah, he hasn't been good.
It's like,
Yeah. So, looking at the series that are starting up here, Jared, this week, and we'll just go through this weekend. Padres, Reds, Brewers, Pirates, Mariners, Rays. Series to note, probably Red Sox, Blue Jays, Mets, Cardinals, Giants, Oakland, maybe. That's through Thursday. Then this weekend, series to note, Astros, Blue Jays, Mets, Phillies, Cubs, Brewers. That's it. The rest of the series the ones we didn't mention, should be sweeps, or the better team should take 2 out of 3 very, very easily. Over the weekend, Jared, Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN, Phillies, Brewers, pitchers duel, 7 shutout innings from Eric Lauer, 7 shutout innings from Aaron Nola. 0-0 ball game going into the 9th. The Brewers score on a sacrifice fly, take a 1-0 lead. Kyle Schwarber comes to the plate in the bottom of the 9th. Leading off, works the count to 3-2, gets rung up on a strike 3 pitch that was a good few inches off the plate. Certainly not a strike. Problem is, the guy who called strike 3 was Angel Hernandez, who was having a dog shit game up to that point. Dog shit. Ump scorecards, Jared. The Twitter, I think, have we mentioned that one on here before? We did, because we talked about the one that we pointed out as really good.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
April 25th, Angel Hernandez, overall accuracy, 88% clip. Overall consistency, 88%. League average on both of those is 94%. He called strike accuracy was 77%, and the league average is 88%. And he called a pitch, Jared, this number 2-1, this pitch to Gene Segura. It was probably 9 or 10 inches off the plate. Horrible. We've talked about the umpires before. We've talked about how we can improve it, Jared. We've talked about a lot of different ways of trying to go about eliminating dog shit like Angel Hernandez. Okay? After the performance that Angel Hernandez had, how does he not get fined?
I just don't get why he's still an umpire.
Jared, if you're a hitter and you go, or if you're let's say a pitcher, because the umpires get home plate once every 4 or 5 games. If you're a pitcher, starting pitcher, you go out in your first outing of the year and you pitch 2 innings, give up 6 earned runs, 7 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Rough start. Next time you go out, 2 1/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Next start you go out, 1 inning pitched, 9 earned runs, 10 hits. Next start you go out, 4 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. There's a pattern there. And the pattern is you're not good. You suck. And when you don't perform well, after, let's say in that specific example that I just listed, you're a rookie and you're a 5-starter, guess what? You're gone. You're sent down. You're done. You're no longer performing at the level that you were promoted to. Angel Hernandez needs to get sent down to AAA, and he needs to make $5,000 a month working an umpire as an umpire in AAA, riding buses, traveling his sorry ass all over the country until he learns to be a better umpire. And if he doesn't learn, guess he doesn't get to be a major league umpire. But the MLB Umpires Union has way too much power because a guy like Angel Hernandez should never be within 1,000 yards of a Major League Baseball field. Ever, period. He is absolute garbage, travesty to the game, and he's detrimental to the integrity of the sport. He literally just doesn't care that he calls horrible games. Horrible games. Over and 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 over. He doesn't stop, Jared. Something has to happen. Something has to change. Because everyone made the big mockery of Kyle Schwarber. No one was disagreeing with Schwarber, by the way, at all. Nobody. Everybody was on his side. It was a classic blow-up situation. And the best part, by the way, so Schwarber strikes out looking. He strikes out looking on a fastball that's 4 inches off the plate. Should have been a walk. He spikes his helmet, spikes his bat, doesn't even get in Angel Hernandez's face. He walks over to the plate, goes to the right-handed batter's box and says, "You've been calling shit over here?" Goes to the left-handed batter's box. "You've been calling shit over here?" And he points at his brim of his hat. "You've been calling shit up here?" And then he goes, "By the way," he goes back to the dugout. He's pissed off. He stops halfway, turns around and goes, "By the way, it's both sides. It's both ways. They complain about it. We complain about it. It's fucking horrible. It's horseshit," is what he said. And normally if like the guy's arguing and he's pointing at the other dugout or he's saying, because he did it when he was at home plate too, like that's not usually condoned because the other team can be like, "Hey dude, just don't like leave us out of it," right? Like don't talk about our guys. Don't. But the Brewers guys in the background of this are just arms crossed, just standing there watching it happen. They have nothing to say because they wholeheartedly agree with Kyle Schwarber that Angel Hernandez is fucking dog shit. Like horrible, horrible, horrible. So get him out.
The only reason that he's still there is because the umpires are unionized, aren't they?
Correct.
They have an umpire union.
Correct.
It's like that doesn't just give you. That's all. You know what the umpire union is like? It's like in Talladega Nights when he says, "With all due respect," and he thinks he can say whatever he wants afterwards. That's literally what Angel Hernandez thinks. He thinks that just because they're part of a union that he could consistently just perform like absolute dog shit, game in and game out, and it's always him.
Joe West West was the other guy too. Joe West was like that too.
Bad.
Dude, it was.
Yeah, they're bad. But Angel Hernandez, like every time you fucking hop on Twitter.
Did you see the video?
On baseball Twitter?
Did you see the video, Jared?
He's everywhere.
You see the video? He's pulling out of the stadium. They waited for him after the game in Philly. He's pulling his either rental car or maybe it's his personal car. I don't know. Either way, it's an ugly ass fucking car. But he pulls it out.
Oh, piece of shit.
Yeah, he pulls the car out of the. He comes out of the tunnel underneath the stadium.
Yeah.
He comes out of the parking tunnel for the umpires, and this guy's got his phone and he's following Angel Hernandez's car just as he turns left out of the parking garage. It's Angel Hernandez, you fucking suck. You fucking piece of shit. Fuck you. And Angel Hernandez thinks it's funny. Like he's literally just laughing. He's like, "This is great. I'm fucking dog shit." Like he knows. That's the worst part, Jared. He knows he sucks. And he knows he can get away with it. That's why it's frustrating. And that's why it's the worst for these players because it's like, dude, not again. Not again. Another time. And then they go up to him and they're like, "You are terrible." And he's like, "Well, you're gone. You're ejected. You can't argue balls and strikes, even if you're right." Like, what is that system? In the NBA, it's very similar. Guys make a foul call and it's like, and the players are like, "I didn't touch him." And the ref goes, "Technical." It's like, guys, there needs to be accountability. And in fact, I will say to that point, I think some NBA referees and NFL referees get punished for poor performances or poor calls. Like I think this past year in the NFL playoffs, Jerome Boger, the black NFL referee, he's been in the NFL for a ton of years. Super notable guy. Everyone knows who he is. I thought he was a pretty good referee. I guess he did like the first game for the Bengals and like the Titans or something. Missed a bunch of calls. The whole crew did. And the NFL released a press release after the game, like on Monday. And they're like, "Yeah, Jerome Boger and his crew are not going to be on any games for the rest of the postseason." And everyone's like, "Great. Great call."
Yeah, I remember that.
They're like, "Great," because he missed a bunch of calls and they weren't good at their job. So they shouldn't be rewarded for it. And then that's the other thing, Jared, too, about the umpires union. Like, Angel Hernandez, if he wanted to, could umpire until he's like 94 years old, and like nothing would happen.
There should be like an age limit thing where like it's almost like how, like, in my mind, it should be like a driver's license. When you get to a certain age, you should have to retest for your driver's
100%.
license.
Also, Jared, do you know about the time that Angel Hernandez filed a? Here, let me. Angel
Should be like just blind out there, just calling balls and strikes. Like, I don't fucking know. Maybe.
So I don't know if you knew this or not, Jared, but he filed it, I think, in 2021 or 2020. He sued the U.S. District Court. Or no, Andrew Hernandez sued Major League Baseball. Did you know about this? He filed a lawsuit against Major League Baseball alleging racial discrimination. He was hired in 93, and he was alleging that he was discriminated against because he had not been assigned a World Series game since 2005 and had been passed over as a crew chief. The court concluded, by the way, that he basically lost his lawsuit and that there was no racial discrimination going against him. And we're not here, Jared, to talk about any sort of racial disparity or race discussion of any kind. But what we are here to do, Jared, is to hold people accountable. And for him to have the fucking audacity to sue Major League Baseball for racial discrimination, for not getting they assign big games and big moments to good umpires. All-Star game, postseason games, World Series games, crew chief, same thing. If you're a great umpire, crew chief. He sued the major leagues because he wasn't getting the big games and crew chief. I wonder why he wasn't getting given the big games. I wonder why he wasn't getting the All-Star game and the World Series. I wonder why he thought that. He thought it was racial discrimination. Doesn't matter what the meeting was or if he thought it was racial or not. That's not the point. The point is he didn't get the games because he was fucking horrible at his job. Horrible at his job. If you have a sales manager, Jared, and you're on the sales team, you're one of the 5 salesmen on the sales team, and Jared sells 5,000 sweatshirts a month, and Ryan sells 500 sweatshirts a month. But I'm younger. I'm 10 years younger than Jared, and a huge company calls and says, we need 5,000 sweatshirts by the end of the month. Who's the sales manager going to give the order to, Jared? Me or you? Probably you. But in Angel Hernandez's case, they're giving it to you, and Angel Hernandez goes, that's racist. You can't do that.
Yeah, I deserve that, even though he's just fucking wildly just known
just significantly better than I am at my job. But that's not the reason why.
It's just like you said. It's just like you said earlier. Like, if you're the 5 starter for a team and you're getting your tits lit every fucking game, you're no longer the 5 starter. You're no longer starting in the rotation. It should be, yeah, like you said, it should be the exact same for umpires. And there shouldn't be. Could you imagine a guy just going out and just being the worst pitcher on the staff and then trying to sue the team because he's like,
they set him down and he sues him for the yearly wages.
Because he's like say he's like Venezuelan, and he's like, no, that's fucked. You guys are racist. That's why you didn't give it to me. It's like, dude, the league is full of all sorts of different ethnicities, and the star players, they're white, they're Dominican, they're black, they're Asian. You know, like, it's like there's no racial discrimination. Whoever performs.
Are you telling me, Jared, there's not one umpire that could do it, one person on this planet Earth that couldn't do a better job than Angel Hernandez behind the plate? That is that is such a fucking joke that there's not, dude. There's times in the major leagues, guys, Jared, where guys have, like, there's games where guys have such a bad performance that they get sent down that day. That day. They are so bad. Yeah. And the team's like, you're not good. Bye. And the umpires union just doesn't give a fuck, dude. It's bad. It's really bad. Angel Hernandez needs to go soon. And then after him, CB Buckner. And then after that, we can start to weed out the more below average, but decent guys. So.
Yeah, he's trash.
He's trash.
That's the moral. That's the moral of the story. He's trash. He should be more performance based.
Yeah. Speaking of trash, Jared, Yankee fans. No, I'm kidding. They're not all trash. They're not all trash. But a lot of them are. And I don't know. I mean, okay, so here's the story. The Yankees are playing the The Yankees are playing the Guardians. And I don't know. I guess there was a play or an incident where one of the outfielders got kind of injured early on in the game towards the outfield warning track. Terry Francona and the trainer come out and talk. Yankee fans in the outfield bleachers are chirping the outfielders, calling them names, telling them they'd beat their ass, all this shit. The video comes out, Jared, Miles Straw, the center fielder. The video that you initially saw was him climbing up the wall and like hanging over the top of the wall and talking to the Yankee fans. Somebody got it on video and posted it like this morning or yesterday where he was up there and he was like,
fucking hit me.
Hit me, motherfucker. Hit me, motherfucker. And he's saying it to the Yankees fans because they're probably saying like, oh, I beat your fucking ass, Straw, like whatever. And listen, I get it. And this is kind of playing into maybe the more, the stuff we talked about on the Phenomenal Fan podcast about like the mental health of these players. Dude, the fucking audacity that some of these fans have to just like feel entitled to say shit like that. First of all, like, what do you get out of it? Nothing. You don't do it. Like, you get nothing out of it. And if anything, the players will react and it's like, that's great, but you didn't change the outcome of the game. And then that goes on. Obviously there's some hostility between the Guardians outfielders and the Yankee fans. Later in the game, Yankees get a walk-off base hit from Gleyber Torres in right field. The Yankee fans subsequently start throwing beers and cups onto the field just at the outfielders, like aiming for the outfielders. And then the outfielders are like, dude, what the fuck? Other guys come over and help them out and hold them back. Yankees can't even celebrate the walk-off hit. They mob Gleyber Torres for like a second, and then they look to the outfield and they're like, wow, that's super fucking shitty that our fans are throwing things at the other team. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo, they run out there. They like putting their hands in the air like, dude, stop. Just stop doing this. And the fans still just like kind of just chucking shit periodically after that. But on a more general sense, Jared, like, why is that happening? Like, when that stuff used to happen in like the 80s and 90s, and they were like that was
fucking it's kind of out of control in the general sense of, if you think about like that, like the way a mob mentality can fucking really get out of control. It's got to be a scary feeling.
To be an outfielder?
To be honest, to be a player at that point when that shit starts to happen. 'Cause, like, what fucking, I mean, I don't think they don't sell bottles for a reason, a game.
Glass bottles, like, yeah.
Yeah, glass bottles. But could you imagine? I bet you at some point that's why all you could get is a can.
A full can of beer? Dude, you know how bad that would hurt?
Dude, you got fucking 40,000 people just like raining down. Like, you want to talk about mental stress? Like that's fucking scary, like if all of a sudden,
it's not even 40,000, because not all 40,000. All it takes is a dozen.
You know what I mean? That's look up and you see a crowd, you see shit raining down on you.
And guess what, Jared? All it takes is 15 or 20 of the guys in the right field bleachers to gang up or get that mob mentality and feel like, fuck it, I got nothing to lose and I'm hammered. And I love the Yankees. Like, they all jump the fence, and then the guy's in serious trouble. Like, that's obviously not going to happen. But, dude, I mean, just like, I already put out a TikTok about it, but like, Yankee fans, like, you got to clean it up, dude. Big time. Big time, you got to clean it up. Like, that's not only like questionable. It's not like it's just questionable. Like, people are throwing shit. And you're like, man, that kind of sucks. No. Like, there needs to be a borderline forensic analysis of this fucking, like, I want fucking fingerprints off these cups. I want fucking every single piece of camera footage that you have available. I want every angle of every part of that section, and I want every guy to be identified and banned for life. Every single person. And you can see, to a certain extent, what like the names that are associated with the purchases of each ticket. So maybe narrow it down like that. Bring them all in for questioning. Seriously, fingerprint them. That's not a joke because that's a fucking crime, dude.
And you got all sorts of fucking. You have a million cameras. You get a million cameras.
A million, not just the broadcast cameras, like surveillance cameras.
Every like you could. I guarantee there's an angle of every single part of the stadium that you
100%.
That you could go and pinpoint those. And you got to make a fucking. I know that they do a pretty good job of that. Like if a fan runs on the field, like you can end up in jail, you know. And like that's seemingly a lot more harmless than trying to fucking like that's assault throwing something at a player. You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's like you get a camera angle of them and fucking make an example out of those guys. Well, I don't know what it is, whether it's a fine or you fucking stick them in jail for a couple of months.
You have to make an example.
I don't know, but it's like if you don't,
because I haven't heard shit about it. And these guys are just the other thing that's the problem with this whole situation. Is that these guys, they hunch down behind the row in front of them and they fucking grenade toss and they get away with it. And then and then security comes down. They're like, hey guys, stop throwing shit. Like, no. Like, what would happen if nobody was throwing anything and it was a calm period in the game and somebody climbed up on the railing and fired a beer at Aaron Judge at Yankee Stadium? Guy's done. Jail, prison. But instead, now it's a mob mentality, like you said, and 5 or 6 or 10 or 12, 15 or 20 beers come raining down. Whoa, where's that coming from? Is it this? Is it
dangerous?
And it's like, dude, it's honestly such a bad look, by the way, too, for baseball. Such a bad look for Yankees fans. If I was a Yankees fan, dude, that would suck. Be like, dude.
Yeah, and I know maybe I was a little like, and I gotta say like what. We discussed in the other podcast about the NBA players snapping back up. And in my mind, Miles Straw, he's got to. I get it. You're frustrated. You can't jump up on the wall and start fucking trying to get into it because you're gonna incite that type of behavior out of a bunch of fucking drunk idiots at a ball game, especially in New York. You know, you just have there's East Coast people. They're already kind of fucking harsh as it is. Like fuck your own ass. Like that's like something a New Yorker would say. You know, so it's like you can't jump up there. It's like, hey. For your own safety, plus the fact that you're a professional, you cannot do that as well. But that doesn't give the fans the fucking right to be thrown shit. The difference between them is the difference between what we talk about in this and what we've seen recently in basketball is the basketball guys, you know, you saw here, hey, you're not, you know, they're talking a little shit, and then the basketball player snaps back and says something fucking suck my dick or shut the fuck up, like something like that. You know?
And it's more close quarters and there's more people around. And security it's a tighter venue. And also, I mean, how many times have you seen in the NBA, LeBron, guys courtside or whatever, that he comes up to the security, he's like, these two guys right here, get them out. I don't want to fucking deal with this shit anymore. These guys are saying racial shit. They're saying shit about my family. Get them out.
Yeah.
And they do it.
In baseball, and I don't know if they do that in baseball. I haven't seen it.
And if they do,
and I've seen it, and I've seen it fucking, there's people always talking shit behind home plate to the batters. And I get it. It's like, you want to talk a little shit, and it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, and this goes for the basketball players as well, you're a fucking human. You know, it doesn't matter whether, like, I get that, like I've said, you need to be professional and you try to fucking block that shit out and understand it's kind of part of it. But at the same time, God, there's some fucking nasty shit that does get said to these guys. They're frustrated. They got shit going on the court. They got competitive juices flowing already. So I get why they fire back a lot of times.
100%.
I'm just saying, like, a lot of the times, like, you just gotta, you know, like you just kind of hope to see that shit get cleaned up in general in sports. And I do like what you said about the NBA. Like, they point at him and say, hey, get the fuck out of here. Same thing with a guy behind home plate. You want to sit here and fucking chirp him and you start saying shit about his family or something like that. You should be able to you should have a security guy right there standing outside the dugout and say, hey, that fucking douchebag in row 3 is saying shit about my daughter or my wife, whatever it is.
100%.
And they should get kicked out of the game. And there shouldn't be, like, you want to, like, heckle or whatever, that's, you know, that's fine. But, like, I think that there's probably a personal side that's too much, where you kind of cross that line.
I agree. And,
you know, you awaken something that's outside of the game. You start getting real personal with it, and that shit's annoying. So clean it up. And in no instance ever should I think fans and fucking players should be making contact or getting close like Miles Straw did. Or kind of takes you back to the Malice at the Palace situation with Ron Artest fucking punching fans in the stands, you know, like people
Can't
trying to
happen.
hit them. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just a shitty fucking ugly look. It's a black eye on the sport. It's a black eye for each franchise that's involved and
even
the players involved.
Yeah,
so
and
you just,
like
we just
Miles
gotta
Straw
hope to see
now.
it cleaned up.
Yeah, like Miles Straw now is. I mean, it's not going to be his entire legacy, or if you know, I don't even know if Miles Straw has a legacy, but in the general scheme, people are going to see him, or God forbid, that next time the Guardians come to Yankee Stadium, it's bad. Like, it's going to be ugly. You know what I mean? They're going to boo him again. They're going to. I don't know, man. It's a tough look. It's a tough look, but at the end of the day, check us out on Patreon for exclusive content. You can only get the shit on Patreon. I don't know what you guys are waiting for. Check out our new merch and our soon-to-be newer merch specific to your guys' team. We're going to try to do, it's probably going to be a slower rollout, but we're going to try to do, some shit for each team, potentially. So keep an eye out for it. Other than that, Jared, it's pretty much gonna do it. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. If you got anything for them,
And lay off the high cheese.
yeah, there it is. There it is. We'll catch you guys on episode 12. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Batter up. We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a home run, but even a triple's okay. We're gonna cheer and boo